As a 15-year-old about to be 16, I do not have enough experience to educate you about life, but I'm going to do it anyway. What I have learned is that life is subjective. Life is exceptionally subjective. You must have heard different metaphors about life. For example, life is like a game of snakes and ladders. Life is like a pen. Life is like a cycle. Life is like a piece of clay. Life is like a movie that won't stop. Life is like a gummy bear, but probably not the last one. For me, life is like a forest. But Atharv, that does not make any sense. Hold on, it will. Life is a forest, full of trees. Trees are like friends. One must choose friends wisely, for they surround them throughout their life, just like trees surround anything in a forest. You can hold on to them, you can lean on to them when there's a storm. The fruits that the trees give are like the memories your friends leave behind. The types of trees give an identity to the forest. Therefore, a forest with thorny vegetation is called dry, and a person with bad company is called a loser. Life is a forest full of creepers. They are like your enemies. They want to tie you down and do not want you to progress. It is really difficult to get rid of them, but they make you stronger. They like to capture everything you love, just like the creepers who strangle the trees. All you need to do to get rid of them is get a pair of strong cutters. These cutters are your strengths, the strengths your enemies are scared of. When walking through this forest of life, you do not want to find yourself on a land with more creepers than trees. It will be extremely unfavorable. Life is like a forest, full of thorns and wrong turns. Thorns are your physical injuries. When you encounter one, you want to give up. They cut right through your skin and it hurts as you move forward. Just when you think you're prepared, you get physically injured and it really slows you down. Mental battles are the wrong turns you take. The forest never ends, but one focuses on progressing throughout this beautiful journey. Wrong turns trap you, they drain your energy, just like the mental battle one fights. These include depression, anxiety, and other negative states of the mind. Life is a forest full of elevations. The elevations represent the highs and successes of one's life. When one steps on this elevated ground, they realize that they can see the path ahead. When one accomplishes something, they find themselves in a state of happiness and superiority. But beware, as you grow more successful and start climbing this elevated land of success, failure is bound to hit you harder than a truck. It's simple. Falling from top of a building is going to have more devastating effects than tumbling down a flight of stairs. It's up to you on how you approach defeat. You can use a parachute at descent or fall straight into the abyss, unwatchful. Life is a forest. And then there are lowlands or depressions. These symbolize failure. Once you fall in, all you see around is the earth. It engulfs you, and getting out of it without the proper equipment is difficult. The equipment is the motivation and the plan of action you have. It all comes down to how you approach failing. You could try doing something to get out of this ditch, or do nothing and whine about it and watch as the trench grows larger. Let me share an experience with you. I was a normal 14-year-old going through the forest of life before lockdown was announced. I was barely surviving. Teenage problems, you see. When the atmosphere suddenly turned cold, COVID-19 was spreading and everybody was scared. It was cold in both the places, this imaginative, metaphorical forest of life and the real world. As I walked further, the frost started collecting on the trees. Everything was slowly freezing. Eventually, the frost got to me and it slowed my movement down. And finally, I was standing still. My legs were trapped by the cold ice. This cold ice, if you haven't realized yet, symbolizes the effect of lockdown. I was not motivated at all. I thought about breaking free, kicking out of my problems, but I just didn't. I started procrastinating. I had to do something about this. I was doing something or the other, but it wasn't getting me anywhere. I was getting excited about potentially doing exciting stuff in my free time, but I just didn't do it. So I decided to change the way I thought. I wouldn't just do what didn't excite me. I would do what was exciting. This rekindled the youthful flame in my heart, and I was fired up. This fire melted the ice around me, and the ice melted to form rivers. The river guided me. It flowed upwards to the hills of success. It defied the laws of gravity, to the hills of success in my metaphorical forest. The people's logic can be compared to the laws of physics, who were not ready to believe that attaining success was possible in this lockdown. There are a million other metaphorical connections, but this is all I have. For me, life is not about being the most successful person in the world or to help others. It's about living life to the fullest. It's about doing what excites you. It's about doing what you love. In the words of Rumi, let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. Life is strange. One moment you have a pandemic and everything stops, and then a 15-year-old educates you about life and everything flows like the rivers in the metaphorical forest. Thank you.